The GameCube was one of the best systems for the racing game genre, and if you don't believe me, just stay tuned. I am the Game Collector, and this is Second Opinion Games, and today I show you 10 great racing games for the Nintendo GameCube.
Second Opinion Games.
NASCAR Thunder 2003. Normally I stay away from games that actually throw the year right there in the title because it immediately makes them dated and you're just going to be left behind when they release another title the very next year with that one digit higher. But this game has a fully licensed soundtrack of people that I actually like, a full career mode, and a diverse group of drivers. Heck, I even have a female one. But when I start up the race, I immediately lose 10 positions. I guess maybe I should have picked my driver based on who had the best mustache, and then I would win for sure. One of the things I like about this game the most is the quick race feature, which immediately allows me to jump into a race and just fly around the track and play really expensive bumper cars, which is what I really like to do in this style. If you don't like bumper cars, well, then you can just stick with the mission mode, where then you can learn how to pass 20 cars in 1 minute and win the race, which is something I can never do, so I just go back to the bumper cars. But if you want a little more depth to your experience, check out NASCAR Dirt to Daytona. This starts you off as a lonely little dirt track driver and has you work your way up through the different circuits to finally get to the big game itself, the NASCAR Daytona. And you could fully customize almost everything about this game, with the style down to dumbing down the AI so you could actually win a couple races, and you could even pick a black driver this time around. And you immediately don't lose all those places off the start of the race. It's probably because he has a sweet mustache. And when you do finally get to Daytona, man, is it ever fun, and it still has that bumper car aspect, and you know you're playing a great racing game when you actually start leaning into the turns itself. However, it misses all of that great music, but with the roar of the engines, I'm certainly still getting thrilled.
You're all clear. All clear.
And if you thought NASCAR was just too hillbilly for you, well, you haven't seen nothing yet. How about Big Mutha Truckers? That's right, Ma decides to sell her trucking empire, and she doesn't know which one of her kids deserves it the most. So she sets up a competition to see who could earn the most money. There's some RPG elements here, as in you have to buy your freight, ship it across the country, and then sell it for as much money as you can. And you have to know which area needs the product that you can get the most. You also have to pay for your gas and pay for the damage to your trucks itself. There's also biker gangs that are going to try and unhitch your trailer, so have you lose everything and all of your hard work. But at the heart, it's a racing game against other truckers and trying to win a little bit of side money action, because every single penny counts. There are tons of different stereotypes here to make fun of, and maybe they didn't know that it's only socially acceptable to make fun of hillbillies, because they go after pretty much everyone here. Also, the radio station is full on hillbilly all the time, which to me sounds pretty great, but other people, it just might turn off. But if those big rigs are just too much for you, how about you check out Chunco Hero? Now, this is a Japanese exclusive, and it's a kart racer game where you can pick many of the characters from the Ultraman series to race around the track. Now, it's more about item management than anything. Your engine can overheat, so you could take some items to cool off, or you could just launch the projectile weapons at your opponents. You also have to watch out, because if you overheat or get hit by something, you have to tap the A button feverishly basically, in order to start your engine up again. Even though your engine is your own 2 feet. After all, you're riding tricycles here. There's also a jump button that actually matters to jump over large gaps so you don't get too tore up, and huge maps and environments that dynamically change as you play through them, and this is one of the more interesting Japanese imports that we never got for seemingly no reason at all. It would have been really easy for us to get this. It probably never left Japan just because it's just too darn weird, but it is a sort of a fun racer. But who says you have to have wheels in order to have a good racing game? Check out Wave Race Blue Storm, jumping on jet skis in a very sunny place. This is the perfect game to play in the heart of winter when you just pray for a little bit of sunshine. And when you maneuver around buoys, make sure you pick the character with the best handling because it will give you a severe advantage in this game. And also because you can miss a couple of these buoys, you can strategically pick which ones to avoid, but don't avoid too many because they give you the boost that you'll need to pass all of your rivals. You could also do a bunch of tricks, but I mostly prefer this for the racing aspect, and it still looks great. The waves and the effects from the weather, though, are where the game really shines, even when it's not shining at all, and this can really throw off your game. Basically, when the storm comes in, that's when this game is at its best.
All right. Good one. Last lap. Let's go. Well done. Okay. You got a turbo.
But if you want to bring a little more firepower to your racing game, check out Spy Hunter. Now it's not just about getting to the end of the course in the fewest amount of seconds. No, this time it's about blowing up stuff along the way. Different enemies that try to ram you off the road, or maybe taking out trucks, picking up satellite information, or just tagging things with a tracking device. You still have your smoke screen and your missiles at your disposal, and if you happen to get too beat up, well then you'll transform into a motorcycle that has quite a bit more maneuverability, but doesn't have so much power in the machine gun aspects. However, it does give you a chance to get away. And if you thought you were just staying on the road, well, you're also wrong, because this car is a transformer for full-on boat missions. Sometimes you'll be swapping back and forth between the boat and the car at will, just blowing up everything alongside the road, and this is one heart-stopping action fest of a game, and it is certainly a racer that will have you being pushed forward. But if that still isn't exciting enough, then check out Smashing Drive. They take like the 1989 Batmobile and just made it into a taxi. Now you have to race across town to earn a couple of dollars because I think Bruce Wayne just lost his mind and all of his money, and he's willing to cause massive damage to his city in order to get that tip. Now this is a crazy idea. I would consider this sort of a spiritual successor to Crazy Taxi, only it's made by Namco of all people, and they really know how to make a great arcade style racing game. There are tons of crazy power-ups here. There's a horn that blasts things forward, or maybe just put giant buzzsaws on the end of your car, and getting to that finish line is actually pretty tough. You have to look for shortcuts around every corner, and everything is bright and vibrant in this world. Man, this is a fun racing experience, and the only thing that could probably make it better is just a little bit more variety. And if variety is what you want, Midway Arcade Treasures 3 is definitely one you should check out. It's 8 racing games, but they're all pretty different. Like Super Off-Road, which is a classic in its own right, trying to race with friends around the track, pick up some money to upgrade your car, and some nitrous to eventually leave you first in the finish line. Or maybe even Off-Road Thunder, which is just extreme version of the classic game, running over everyone in sight. But if you want something a little bit more retro, you could jump into Stunt Runner. I remember this in the arcades. It was a huge sit-down cabinet, and it was just insane to play. I didn't remember it being quite this choppy, though. There's also games in the San Francisco Rush series, and it plays just like in the arcade with tons of different collectibles that you could find off the beaten path, encouraging you to explore as you play through the game. But I really bought this game just to play some Hydro Thunder. I actually went to an arcade where I could sit down and just play as long as I want forever, and I spent 3 hours in a Hydro Thunder machine, and I gotta tell you, this just feels perfect.
Time extended.
But I got a feeling Nintendo was holding back a little bit. After all, they never released GT Cube here in America. It is a beautiful, cel-shaded car racer that allows you to fully customize your car. And by fully, I mean just slap on a couple upgrades, which says, hey, this makes it just work a little bit better. Now you'll race around the track and earn more upgrades to your car, and then just go in and apply them all, and then jump into the next race. The game itself is pretty darn tough, but there's no damage when you run into things, so that means you're going to have to use the cars on the track as obstacles in order to corner just a little bit better. And the game still looks beautiful today, probably because they stuck with that cel shading that is just gorgeous. The cars all control fairly well, and it gives you tons of challenge in this game, but not so many tracks. I wanted a little bit more variety, even if it still has the deep gameplay. So I'm gonna have to turn to our last game. Modellista. Capcom might have made the best looking racing game for the GameCube with this one, with its cel-shaded graphics and awesome speed effects, wind shooting over your muscle car, which is fully customizable, I might add. You could pick what type of tires you want, because after all, you don't want to take your Corvette that's standard around a dirt race car track. So you're probably going to want to have lots of other cars in your garage, like a Subaru that might be perfect for handling downhill quick turn events, and a souped up Dodge Viper for taking on those massive straightaways. However, this all comes at a high price, and I don't mean in-game high price. I mean the fact that this game sells currently for over $100, so you might feel like you have to switch to the PS2 in order to pick it up for $10. But you'll be doing yourself a rather hard disservice here, because it definitely plays a heck of a lot better on the GameCube with the tightness of the turning and the speediness of the load times. Add on the fact that this is a rather challenging experience that will have you playing for multiple hours, you just might have yourself one of the best racing games ever made, and of course it was made for the Nintendo GameCube. But that's just my opinion. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. I had a great time making it, and yeah, I'm willing to say that as far as Nintendo consoles goes, the Nintendo GameCube was the king of race car games and racing in general, because after all, you don't have to have a car to have a good racing experience. So what are your favorite racing games for the GameCube? And if you didn't think that I already covered maybe your favorite one, well, this is actually the second video I did like this, so you might as well check out the other one. So until later, I will see you again, guys.